If you're a Star Wars fan, cast your mind back to November 12th, 2019, the opening premiere, season one, episode one of The Mandalorian. So for us Star Wars fans, it was super exciting. I remember that scene and that episode very, very well. Um, I've been inspired by a number of YouTubers that I follow around their Lego Star Wars MOCs. Pagodon Bricks, in particular, built an entire the entire original trilogy, episodes 4, 5, and 6, with Lego bricks. Did a tremendous job. I loved following him on Instagram and kind of seeing what he came up with. And I'm going to try and do something similar here with The Mandalorian. Take a couple stabs at it. I'm nowhere near the mock builder of some of the other folks out there. So this is going to be also me, sharing my journey and a little bit of my trial and error. Yeah, because I thought it was a pretty cool scene. It brings back a lot of good memories. And so I'll kind of walk you through the process that I used to build this mock. So in that very first episode, we see the Mandalorian landing on an icy planet. He's walking along. We find out later that planet is called Pagodon. And he is after a bounty of a Mythrol, this blue Mythrol. We see the scene interior here where he's effectively getting picked on by some bullies, is how I would describe it. They say they're going to cut out his glands and eat them, I guess. And then, of course, the Mandalorian enters. This gentleman makes the comment, "You spilled my drink," and the Mandalorian effectively kicks the crap out of these guys. Corrin gets cut in half, and then the Mandalorian, grabs the Mythrol and brings him back to his ship. So what you see here is a time lapse of me. What I decided to do was to build a series of modular walls. The walls had to have a couple things in common. Number one is I wanted there to be a circle, so the MOC itself has a semicircular shape to represent the way I saw it when I was watching the scene. And I also wanted the walls to kind of come inward. So I achieved all of that by using some hinge plates. So hinge plates at the bottom to connect it and give it that circular feel, but also some clips that I used. I don't know how well you can see it here, but to create that inward looking dome appearance that you ultimately see as a part of the design. Now, one of the other challenges that I had in using all of these reddish brown bricks, and I'll get to this in a little bit more when I talk about the floor. First off, the color was a little bit boring, but also I had a tremendous amount of casualties. A lot of these reddish brown bricks break pretty easily. Now, once I had that completed, I used just very basic plates to, pattern match and kind of figure out where I wanted to place this to get that circular feel. And that's what you can see here. So here is the bar that I originally built. It's 16 studs wide. And you can just see, pretty simple, just gives a good idea of what the background looked like. And, but what I did realize is that it was a little bit too large. So I next needed to limit this and kind of change it up a little bit. I needed it to be 12 studs wide. So real quick disassembly, had to make some minor adjustments to the shelving and kind of where some of the, drinks and containers and everything else went. Also had a couple casualties as well on my bricks as I was taking this apart and rejigging it. But this was required because as I really started placing all the pieces down on my final build, I was realizing I needed this to be a little bit shorter than what it originally was. So now we enter the big mistake, as I like to call it. I watch a lot of YouTube mock creators. There's some great ones out there. One of the things that they give you as kind of advice and tips and everything else for beginners is don't do anything too large, right? Because attention to detail is really what separates good from great when it comes to building a mock. I like to think that I listen. However, in this instance, I think I just overdid it. And this did not need to be a big mock by any stretch. It's larger than it needs to be. And the area that I really struggled in is the floor. I did not know what I wanted to do for the floor. In the video, in the season opener, you don't ever see the floor. You know that it's an outpost. You know it's an old pub. So we can imagine what the floor looks like. But I explored a variety of different ideas. Do I want to tile it? Do I want it just to be, brown and boring, etc.? Really struggled with this. And this is one of the things that I struggled so much that I debated not posting any video or even sharing a single picture of this. I overcame that fear, so to speak. I'm going to go ahead and post it. Hopefully, as the years progress and I learn more and get better at this, I can look back on this and smile as a good learning experience. Okay, so here's where I landed on this one. I, be honest, did not like it. I think it's because I was experimenting with what the layout was going to look like, and it's not as consistent as what I wanted it to be. So we're going to destroy this one and take another crack at it. Okay, now this is done, and I actually happen to like this a little bit more. I think it gives a little bit more of a pattern that I was kind of looking for. I'm not entirely sold on it, but it's pretty good. We'll see if there's another option. Okay, so I'm still struggling a little bit with what to do with the floor of this MOC. This time, I think I'm just gonna absolutely mishmash the heck out of it and try to stick to at least a like some sort of a color theme. So just earth colors, and we're just gonna slop around and see what it looks like. Well, here's what that looks like. It's okay. It looks like someone that doesn't have enough Lego bricks to do what they really want to do. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and it doesn't really resemble a floor at all. So I don't think I'm going to do this either. So after all of that, where did I land? I didn't do any of the ones that you just saw. There were a couple reasons for it. Number one, I just wasn't into it, wasn't passionate about it, didn't feel quite right. Number two, and this is just a financial reality, I didn't really have the bricks to scale. Again, this is kind of like the problem with building something that's probably a little bit too large. I do think the floor probably should have been tiled, but I ended up using plates, brown plates, because I have a ton of them. So that's what I ended up using. It made the entire MOC brown, like with no color variation, which I found very frustrating. But it is what it is. And, again, I kind of live and learn. In hindsight, I do think it should have been probably a darker brown intermixed with actually white and perhaps dark bluish gray. I think it would have given that look and the appearance of, perhaps some of the snow and the muck that might be in a pub like that. So anyway, I went with brown, and that's where we landed. So once I had all the plates down, I was able to start, laying out what the actual MOC was going to look like. So the door with the Ravenak tusks, getting the wall all lined up with the hinge plates and getting that circular look. Had to fluff around a little bit with the bar to get that positioned, but here's kind of the final example of what it looks like. So now I get into the finishing touches here. I had to make a couple tables, some chairs, thinking about where I wanted the minifig placement to be. I really wanted to have a couple tables and try to create a, a pub-like environment. Finishing touches on the walls as well. It was a little bit flimsy, not quite as sturdy as I would have liked, but I liked the way it came out. Okay, so here you can see the final. This is the pub that the Mandalorian walks in. You can see the minifigures in the background. I took a couple pictures. I did not have any minifigure that resembled the bartender, so I used good old Wooher from the Cantina. I am pleased with the 4 minifigures that I had that are kind of like the critical 4, obviously with Mando included. I think they look pretty good. But yeah, really pleased with it. I hope that you enjoyed it. Definitely wish I had a little bit more detail in it. I think it's too large for what it is, but had a great time making it. If you made it this far, you are a good soul. Thank you so much, and I really, really mean it. I'm trying something new here. I hope you enjoyed, me walking you through my thought process and what I did. I hope that these videos will get better as my MOCs get better, but also just enjoy sharing my passion for my hobby. And please, give a like, subscribe, all the stuff I'm supposed to say. I would really love comments as well on just constructive feedback, any ideas you have on what I could have done different or different approaches. I will be building a new MOC very soon. I'm hoping to get one done every 2 weeks or so, which is probably a little bit optimistic for me. But this next one, I have a kind of this image of the Ravenak that's grabbing the Razor Crest as he's taking off with the Mythrol, which actually happens like literally minutes after this scene. So I have a couple ideas for some scenes literally out of the very first episode of the first season of The Mandalorian. So please stay tuned. I really appreciate your feedback, and thank you so much for watching.